Paste Debian.net. Not hidden no more. Hidden posting. Sudoku state dot preprocess solve. Preprocess. Is this how you're modeling your 2D array as a dict of Boolean? Why Boolean? Rows, columns, and regions. I don't know what the bools mean. Because it's not the rows, because the rows aren't Booleans. So row, you set these to true. Region parcel. The cell is not the... So usually the cell refers to the data within it. But you're saying these are the cell coordinates. I think. Row, column, region. So personally, I would, instead of using a plain tuple, I would make a name tuple. Because it's very easy to mix up these things, especially because they're all the same. They're all numbers. So it's easy to like put them in the wrong order someplace. That's a source of bugs. But if you use a name tuple, you don't have that source of bugs. So enumerate 2D. So this you can use enumerate. So that, oops, is equivalent to I'm going to first rename your row into row index. Rename your call, just because I think that makes more sense. Call. Then we can replace this with row and this with cell. Well, what I call cell is the individual character. So you can, instead of using range len, if I see range len, I immediately think of enumerate. And in this case, it leads to nicer code, I think. Because it gives you the row. It gives you the key and the value, the index and the item in the list. Three times row plus. Okay. So you're modeling the region as one-dimensional, that's fine. Empty cells. If there are no empty cells, then it's empty. But what does is empty mean? I think this function's misnamed. Should this be like done or something? Or solved? Is solved or is complete? I think those are better names than is empty. Because an empty board, I don't know. Toggle. Toggle. So toggle flips it on and off, but, well, I guess you're flipping it like this. Region. This doesn't make sense. Why is the last empty cell important? Oh, so there's a symmetry here and here, I think. Is this always true? Because toggle's only called here, and in that case cell is... Oh, you modify empty cells here. Okay, I think I know what that means. Still kind of odd. Why isn't solve in here, in this class? Seems like it belongs in this class, because it's doing a lot of state dot, state dot, state dot. And it knows about the details of the toggle function, the fact that it looks at the last thing and not the first thing or something like that. So it seems like this should go in the class as well. I see what you mean by backtracking. Got it. So there's something called what is it called? I have a book here looking through. That's not it. I know they talked about it in this book. $189. That's probably it. I guess it's a related concept. So this is talking about either middleman or delegate, but it's I think another term is feature envy, where if there's some function that's doing a lot of it's doing a lot of stuff with its inputs, but not. If there's one input that stands out as being manipulated more often than the others, then that's a clue that that function should belong with that class and not where it is now. So here you're using state a gazillion times. Every line has the word state in it, or it's just a return. So this belongs in the state class, or your whatever Sudoku state. Excuse me. What's in the book? This book is Refactoring by Martin Fowler. This is the newest edition from 2018, 19? 2019. Lines 22 to 25. You had empty cells pop. Yes. Should I have made bool matrix instead of default dicts? I don't know. We'll see. Oh, okay, so I see what you mean. So I see what these are doing. It's not what I initially thought. So you have that from collections report default dicts. Just to make my syntax thing nice. So self.rows would be, for example, there's a row 0. So I'm going to write it as if it was a set. So if my board was, let's say I have a 2x2 board or a 4x4 board. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Well, let's make some empty ones. Dot, dot, 2 dot, 2 dot, dot, 3 dot, 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 dot. This is your board. Then row 0 would be 1 is true. Well, 1 is true, 2 is true, 3 is true, 4 is true. Row 1 only has 2 to true, and the other ones are false or unset. And this one has 2 set and 3 true. This was is empty. So I think this is how you're modeling it. I think it'd be a bit simpler if it was a set instead. But I think I would make a class just for this, but maybe not. Well, I mean, I probably would, but maybe not in Python because there's cost to making a class. Runtime cost. But I mean, Python anyway, it's a pile of crap for performance anyway. But I think at the very least I would do a set instead of a default dict of Boolean. That does make this a bit less convenient. So if I was going to encapsulate it in a class, then you could make a toggle function for each. It'd be like a set toggle. if that makes sense. But really, it doesn't even need to be... These don't even need... You don't need to store the state, because you can infer that state from the board itself. So it's more like a cache, right? I guess for this lookup here. So you could just reference the board itself. Or you could... Or you could have your cache thing. So another comment is you have this preprocess function. Usually this would belong in the constructor, in the init method. I don't see a reason for it to be separate. Because it's illegal to call preprocess twice. Well, I guess it doesn't do anything if it's called twice. No, it does do things, so that's bad if it's called twice. If you call preprocess, then solve, then preprocess again, that's bad. So yeah. So I would rename some things, move some stuff around, but overall it seems all right. I think this would be better as a set. That would communicate better what it's doing. But then that would make this code a bit weird. Which means to me that I would make a class to encapsulate this setness of it. Because really, like if I was doing this in a real language that had real awareness of how computers work, then I would store, if I was doing it this way with your caching solution, then I would, instead of a set of numbers, it would be a bit set. Because you know there's only 9 things, you can store that in 2 bytes. And just do simple shift stuff for testing. If something's there, and then it's simple to flip, it's simple to test, it's simple to add, it's simple to remove. So that's how I would go about it. Did you, I guess, John Hillington, I don't know if you wanted me to look more at your project. Let me bring that back. I'm gonna go get more water. Sure, I can show you the name tuple after some water. So you're talking about your parse cell. Let's make a new buffer. And where do you use it? Let's look here. So make a name tuple. Whoops. Import typing name tuple. We have its row, column, and region. These are all ints. You can say this returns a cell. Row call is cell. What? Is valid. That's weird. I mean, what? Well, I'll just show you the name tuple thing, even though, whatever. Even though parcel is returning its inputs and then a third thing derived from those inputs, where it could just return the third thing. It could be like get region or something instead, but whatever. So you did parse cell. We call it cell2 dot. So that's how you would use name tuple, or how you could use name tuple in this case. Okay, I would call this cell region, row column. It's an int, this is an int, this is an int, and then just return. I'd really just do this. And this would be row column, call cell region. I would do it this way, probably. Just messing with. Okay. It's not a problem, but it's weird when you have a row column pair and also you have a row column region pair and you call both of them cell, and you kind of have to get lucky to figure out which one is 2 and which one is 3.